Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA video, we're going to be hearing from Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick on a couple of comments that he ended up making, like if GTA 5 keeps selling, would they wait to launch Grand Theft Auto 6, his thoughts on the next generation consoles, and even remarks on Google Stadia. And this is really the first time we've heard from Strauss Zelnick since Take-Two Interactive did their fiscal quarterly earnings report that we heard from earlier in the month. And he talked about a lot of interesting things. And I'm actually referencing three articles here. This first one comes from gamesindustry.biz. It's an article written by Brendan Sinclair. The title is, "If GTA 5 keeps selling, would Take-Two wait to launch GTA 6? CEO Strauss Zelnick responds to concerns of the publisher cannibalizing its own success." So the article goes on to say this: given Grand Theft Auto Online's continued success, would Take-Two Interactive think twice about launching a major new Grand Theft Auto game when the live service of the previous version is still raking in the money? That was one of several questions directed towards Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick today in an interview at the Bernstein Annual Strategic Decisions Conference. And while Zelnick refused to discuss release plans for theoretical unannounced projects, he did go into detail about a previous time the company faced such a situation. The article goes on to say Zelnick returned to an anecdote he's previously used regarding the NBA 2K Online franchise in China. He said the original release of the game was based on the 2010 or 2012 version of the NBA 2K engine, and at a certain point, both the development and business teams said it was necessary to update the game beyond that. So the company listened to those teams and prepped NBA 2K Online 2, understanding that it might have some problems transitioning the player base from the original to the sequel. But what actually happened was that when we launched NBA 2K Online 2, it turned out to be a massive hit. And guess what? The audience was still stable and growing for NBA 2K Online itself, the first title. So we kept them both up, and they're both up to this day. So what Strauss Zelnick is basically saying there is just because one game is successful, even if it might be an older version, and to this we could reference GTA 5 coming out in 2013, 14, 15, and the success that Grand Theft Auto Online is still having today, they're not afraid to just say, hey, here's the new version of what you guys have been enjoying. And from my understanding, it looks like that whenever GTA 6 comes out, it looks like Rockstar might also keep Grand Theft Auto 5 and its multiplayer up and running as well. Now, to a degree, we've seen that with Grand Theft Auto 4's multiplayer, although there's much less that Rockstar has to do with that, so it's not like it burdens them all that much, but you can still hop on GTA 4 multiplayer today and launch yourself into a lobby. But anyway, Zelnick goes on to say, we can't call what a consumer is going to want to do, but we know if we're not innovative, if we're not out in the market generating extraordinary new entertainment experiences for our customers, then we'll be left behind. Anytime you look at a business and you take the position, this is great, it's the gift that keeps on giving, I'm just going to stick with it, and I'm not going to worry about innovating because everyone loves what we have, you are just moments away from being destroyed by your competitors. And I love what he had to say next. He said, since your lunch is going to get eaten anyhow, I prefer to eat it myself, to get out in front of my competitors and always get to market when the time is right with the next great thing. And I don't worry about the possibility it will somehow have a negative influence on what was previously in the market. So I don't know if you could directly relate that to GTA 5 to GTA 6, because I really do think Rockstar is the only ones capable of, delivering that sort of title. But there are plenty of other, open world online modes out there. And so I wonder if that will impact Rockstar's decision to have GTA Online 2, for example, and how that's going to work. Now, Zelnick was also asked about the company's recent announcement that they were going to be having a pipeline of 93 full games ready for release in the next 5 years. And a couple of people ended up asking Strauss if the company might be overwhelmed by its own ability to create hit games or audiences' abilities to spend on them. And Zelnick dismissed these concerns and instead said this: even with this new pipeline, we do not expect to have more than a handful or slightly more meaningful big releases a year, Zelnick said. We just want to make sure we have them every year. Without that investment, we run the risk of having the kind of light release year that we're having this year. Okay, so that is kind of interesting, meaning that in a year we could get GTA 6. We could also get another title like the next BioShock or another Borderlands, for example. But don't expect like every big game like that to come out in one single year. The reason they're doing that is because this year in 2020, it seems like they're not going to have any big releases at all. And obviously, that's not great news for the company. Now, again, if you want to check out the rest of that article, I will leave a link to it in the description. Strauss continues to talk about a handful of other interesting subjects. But I want to move over to another article that was posted on GameSpot the other day by Eddie Machich, who posted an article that said Take-Two boss on what the next-gen consoles will offer. The head of Rockstar Games' parent company speaks about what the PS5 and Xbox Series X will deliver in terms of new features and improvements. And Strauss said this about the next-generation consoles and what they will add for his games. They said, "We're very excited about what the new consoles will allow our creative folks to do. We've obviously been developing with new technology for some time already, so we're very familiar with what that can take us. Generally speaking, what new technology in our business allows us to do is better memory, better graphics, more fidelity, more beauty, more subtlety, more speed, more richness, and more depth, and more characters." So I think the last thing he said there is important. Now, obviously, all those things are great. Better graphics, more memory, more depth. But that might be one of the limitations that a company like Rockstar could ultimately face when creating titles like Grand Theft Auto, is how many big-time characters they can have in the game. Now, we sort of saw that improve with Red Dead Redemption 2, but could you imagine if the next GTA game has like 1,000 memorable characters? How cool would that be? And Zelnick also went on to say, over time, our systems will be so sophisticated that you won't be able to distinguish between interactive entertainment created in a computer and live action entertainment created with a camera. There will come a point where photorealism will be possible. And that's obviously incredibly exciting. I mean, Rockstar's titles look amazing already, but imagine where it's going to be tough to tell if you're like watching a movie or if you're watching a in-game video cutscene. Like, that is going to be so cool, and I think we're getting really close to that. And the last thing that Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick ended up talking about was Google Stadia. There was an article on Forbes by Paul Tassi who says, GTA 5 publisher CEO says what everyone is thinking about Google Stadia. So when asked about Stadia and its technology, Zelnick said, streaming technology is upon us. The launch of Stadia has been slow. I think there was some over-promising on what the technology could deliver and some consumer disappointment as well. And this is coming from someone, me personally speaking, I don't have the Google Stadia platform. I just really didn't think it was necessary when I already have all the other consoles. I don't really think install times are all that terrible. And I never really followed the launch of Stadia all that much, other than I know it didn't go all that great. But Zelnick goes on to say, over time, I believe streaming will work. The belief that streaming was going to be transformative was based on a view that there were loads of people who really had an interest in interactive entertainment, really wanted to pay for it, but just didn't have a console. I'm not sure that turned out to be the case. And I think Strauss Zelnick is 100% correct, because if you have people that are interested in video games, they're going to have a console. There's not going to be a ton of people that want video games but just decided, nah, I don't want a console. But when Google Stadia came around, oh, that's the thing that I want. So I think he's 100% right on that, and that maybe in the future something like this will work. But right now, it just doesn't seem like it's been all that of a great success, at least from its initial launch. But anyways, that is what Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick said at the Bernstein Annual Strategic Decisions Conference that happened the other day on what will happen when GTA 6 is ready to release. Will GTA 5 and its multiplayer just go away? What he thinks of the next generation consoles, and a whole lot more. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of everything he had to say and more in those comments down below. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.